Hi there, I'm Michelle, and welcome to This Explainer. I'm really glad you're joining me today. We're going to be diving into a topic that is, well, incredibly close to home, literally. If you're 50 or older, you might actually be starting to think about the next chapter in your housing journey. And look, it's a massive transition. It's completely normal to feel a big mix of excitement and, let's be honest, maybe a little apprehension about what comes next. So let's just dive right into this together. Explore some possibilities, and figure out how we can make this next stage of your life the absolute most comfortable and fulfilling one yet. You know, if you ask most people over 50 what they plan to do with their home eventually, one word almost always comes up. It's kind of the default decision, right? The assumed next step. It's the thing you're quote-unquote supposed to do when the kids have grown and flown, and suddenly the house just feels a little too quiet and maybe a little too big. Most people just assume that their only logical next step absolutely has to be downsizing. But let's pause for a second and really look at that word. Downsizing is literally defined as a reduction in space. Moving to a smaller home with fewer rooms and less square footage. And honestly, the word itself carries a ton of emotional weight, doesn't it? It kind of implies giving things up, scaling back, and accepting that a certain chapter of your life is just over. For someone who spent 30 or 40 years building a really beautiful life and making all these memories in one place, that word alone can trigger a lot of resistance. Nobody wants to feel like they're settling for less or simply going down. But here is where we get this really beautiful paradigm shift. What a lot of folks don't realize until they're really deep into these conversations is that downsizing and rightsizing are actually not the same thing at all. See, downsizing asks, how do I get less? But rightsizing, it asks a much more empowering question. What do I actually need? Right-sizing really isn't about getting less. It's about finding the absolute perfect fit for your routines, your health, your relationships, and ultimately your daily joy. It completely reframes the whole conversation from a sense of loss to a sense of opportunity. So let's talk about what right-sizing actually looks like in the real world. Let's look at some real-world examples right here in the Chicago area just to see how this beautiful concept works in practice. So think of a couple moving from a 4-bedroom house in Orland Park right into a 2-bedroom condo in the South Loop. Now, they haven't just downsized, they have right-sized. They basically traded a guest room they maybe used twice a year for incredible walkability, a building with a super helpful concierge, and, a rooftop terrace for evening sunsets. Or consider a woman who moves from a really large colonial into a single-level Tinley Park home. She's trading a difficult layout and the endless worry of, say, a damp basement for a much more manageable, sunny garden and the pure joy of being way closer to her grandchildren. Her square footage definitely went down, but her daily ease and her peace of mind, those went way up. And that brings us to this really wonderful guiding thought. The numbers got smaller, but the life got bigger. When you actually start thinking about your next move as finding the right home rather than just a smaller one, your whole perspective completely shifts. You stop measuring your success by square footage, and you start measuring it by how well the space actually serves your day-to-day life. You're trading the burden of maintenance for the freedom of lifestyle. It's like the world outside your home gets bigger exactly as the space inside becomes more intentional. But here's a really comforting thought, too. Right-sizing doesn't always mean you have to pack boxes. Sometimes the right home is literally the one you're already standing in. It just needs a few adjustments to fit the life you're living today, rather than the life you lived, say, 20 years ago. Right-sizing in place is a really wonderful option. This might look like converting a garage into a beautiful, accessible living space, or maybe renovating a bathroom for better safety and comfort, or even just moving your primary suite to the main floor so you don't have to lug a heavy laundry basket up the stairs anymore. It's really all about making the home work for you. Now, we absolutely have to look at the financial picture. The absolutely crucial point here is understanding the true difference between price and value. You see, traditional downsizing very often involves selling a larger home, buying a cheaper one, and just cashing out the equity. And hey, that is a perfectly valid path. But right-sizing is really focused on long-term value. For example, a well-located condo with strong amenities and zero maintenance might actually cost a bit more upfront than a cheaper property way out in the suburbs. However, when we actually factor in what you're no longer spending on heating a massive house, or paying for yard care, or handling endless unexpected maintenance issues, and then add in the priceless return of just getting your time back, well, the picture starts to look completely different. And if you happen to be navigating these decisions right now, I want to deeply validate your experience. According to the National Association of Realtors, homeowners aged 50 and older actually make up the largest segment of the home sales market right now. You are quite literally the driving force in real estate. And your motivations, they're beautifully nuanced. It's not just about simple cost reduction anymore. It's about optimizing your entire life for joy, comfort, and really meaningful connection. you are firmly in the driver's seat here. Because these decisions are both emotionally heavy and financially nuanced, having a trusted community partner by your side is just everything. And that is exactly where a senior real estate specialist, or SRES, comes in. These professionals are specifically trained to help homeowners in this exact stage of life. They aren't just there to handle a basic real estate transaction. They're actually there as supportive guides to help you really think through these complex lifestyle questions with a lot of patience, empathy, and deep local expertise. So let's take a quick look ahead at your next 3 years. I really invite you to just take a breath and ask yourself, what does a truly good day look like 3 years from now? And I don't mean a fantasy vacation day, I mean just a regular, run-of-the-mill Tuesday. Where are you? What does your home actually feel like to move through? What heavy burdens are you finally no longer dealing with? What has become easier for you? Just sit with that picture honestly for a bit. Let it guide you. Finding the right fit is a journey, and whenever you're ready to just have a casual conversation about what's possible, reach out to a trusted local expert in your community. Again, I'm Michelle. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer today, and here's to finding the perfect fit for your beautifully expanding life.